Welcome back to Honor of the Fallen Part 4, as we all sit at a banquet, with the exception of Pillwinkle. He might be someone's banquet. And we begin to see blood squirt on the white vestments of the Jarl as he takes his blade and cuts into the flesh of his victim. Svitar grips the top of the post until his knuckles turn white, and he just goes... as he winces in pain. Meanwhile, Pillwinkle, you have got quite the predicament.
I do.
How are you going to get away from these cats?
I think my plan has failed. So I mean, I would probably just turn right back into a gnome and head back into the hall.
The moment that you turn back into a gnome, the cat's like, "Meow," and they scatter. And you come back to the water's front.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you approach, and that's when you hear the sickening sound of a knife pulling away skin tissue. And masterfully, the Jarl lifts up the skin of the shoulder blade and whips the knife back and forth to cut the white connective tissue between the skin and the muscles, and curls the skin back. Blood, very watery, drips down onto the table, onto the platform below, the Jarl's bare feet being drenched in it as it soaks the undersides. And then he moves the other side and starts cutting the flesh and cutting the web. Everybody's quiet as they're just sitting here watching this. Few of the women in town are crying. The Jarl's wife is hysterical, but she's covering her mouth, so she's not making any noise. It's probably then that you guys notice that there are 18 shield maidens standing in perfect formation on one side of the group, and all of us guards are just kind of watching this scene in horror. Does anybody want to roll an insight for me? Actually, all of you can, because I imagine you guys are probably looking around like, what the hell? Soggy, if you roll an insight, I want you to do advantage.
I will roll an insight.
Yeah, and I would like to mention to Pillwinkle, even if he's not there, I just had to mention it out loud and hoping
He's
to speak
not
to
anywhere
him.
near you.
But I'm going to say
He's not near you.
he's bathing in our own blood.
Tipowitz, he's not near you. Pillwinkle left.
I didn't look. I'm transfixed, but I still think he's
Yeah.
right there, and I just say that out loud to my brother, even though he's not there.
I think actually when you say that, and part of your high insight is that people around you are nodding in agreement. Like, you start noticing the grim expressions of most people present. They did not share the Jarl's jealousy.
Yeah, he should have challenged him honorably. This is a travesty.
They're kind of nodding, but they're remaining quiet.
We can't challenge the Jarl. I mean, we'll all end up in the fucking dungeon.
Pillwinkle, Dorian, you guys also notice that it looks like the crowd isn't exactly on board with this, but they're not saying anything. And as for Nigel thinks the crowd is for this. This is exactly what everybody wanted. This bastard needed to be put down. Now, that doesn't mean you think that. That's just, you're looking at the ravenous crowd, and to you, they're all like, blood.
More blood.
At this point in time, he takes his blade and he pierces the muscle tissue until he feels the bone thunk against the sharp edge. He cuts down and then curves the blade to peel the muscle tissue away from the ribs, and you just hear this as he's peeling back more of the skin. And once he finishes both sides, he holds his bloody hands up, and he's like, "We are nearly there, brethren!" And everybody's like, "Yeah!" A half-hearted cheer goes out, and he takes his hatchet, and you just hear him splitting. Meanwhile, Svitar, at this point, he looks like he's on the verge of passing out, and he's trying to keep his head up, and he's making eye contact with Stinpilkfist.
I think by this point, I mean, if we stop it, he's just gonna like die even more miserably.
Yeah, there's nothing to be done now.
I mean, it's like trying to
Well,
stop
it's-
somebody
yeah,
in the
I
middle
think-
of being electrocuted.
For all those who pass the perception check or the insight, I think you're starting to get that idea from the crowd. Like, now the crowd is like, well, don't stop now. Keep going. But you can tell, you actually hear some of the women nearby you going, don't scream, don't scream, don't scream. And everybody's just
That's what
like,
I'm thinking too.
yeah, everybody's just like, come on, you can do it. And then you hear a sickening snap, and you see him open one of the rib cages like the side of a chest, and he opens the other one like the opening of a wooden chest, and it's just like, scream, and he pulls it until it can't open anymore. Svitar's body's twitching a little bit as he's wincing in the pain, and the Jarl stops to give Svitar some time. Svitar's hand like falls to his side, and then the Jarl gently picks it up and places it back onto the post and turns around and goes back, his bloody footprints leaving a trail behind him. And he grabs the lungs and separates the pleural membrane that surrounds the lungs and the heart, and gets all the connective tissue off, and then folds the lungs over his shoulders. And in a weird way, it's the most beautiful thing. It's very rarely done correctly, because usually the person struggles, but it actually, in a weird, grotesque, kind of religious way, it's beautiful. People gasp, and Svitar looks up and smiles at Sten Pilkfist again, but then speaks to the heavens and goes, and he speaks a language that you guys do not understand. It sounds harsh. It almost sounds like you want to cover your ears, because it's that alien. And he looks at the heavens, and then all of a sudden black storm clouds come up overhead. Thor's lightning just streaks across the sky in an angry fury, and he passes away. Once,
Weepy.
yeah,
Like,
once
I'm fine.
everybody's weeping, the girls are weeping, the wife just loses it and runs away from the Jarl. And pretty soon the crowd starts to disperse, some of the guards shaking their heads solemnly as they leave. And the Jarl, who is expecting a bigger reception afterwards, is like, where are you all going? Justice was served today. We have a banquet. But people are leaving the tables.
I walk up, get as close as I can. Because I know there's like shield bands or whatever blocking the way.
Yeah. Well, they're not blocking the way. They've actually kind of dissipated as well. They went back to their posts.
There's not much to stop you from doing at this point.
It's literally just the four of you and the Jarl at this point.
Walk up to him. Well, as you can see, your people are not very happy about your display up here.
Ah, what do they know? And he throws the hatchet down on the wooden platform and hops down.
Jarl has gone
The
mad.
servants are cleaning him as he just stands there with his arms out. They take the robe off. He's naked before you, and then they start putting his normal clothes on. And you see that they've already fashioned the pelt into a cloak. And he puts the cloak on, covering half one arm down to the elbow, and then the other's just right up by the neck. So it kind of hangs like an Assassin's Creed type cloak.
Well, do you feel better now?
I do. No one will lay with my wife again. Not even I. And then he walks away, angry.
Before he walks out, I'm pretty pissed, so I'm gonna use Druidcraft to make his fresh new cloak smell like a skunk.
Alright, so he's like... Ugh, and then just continues on.
Got him.
Ha! Got him!
I got you.
I don't know.
Hacha!
Yeah.
So the four of you
That'll
are
teach
left
you
there
to execute people.
with
Avenged.
Svitar's body.
Yeah, Tipowitz was standing there, leaning against his staff, standing ramrod straight, just pale as a sheet, and tears just coating his whole face. And as the Jarl leaves, he like once the Jarl's gone, he kind of goes to do something about Svitar's body and take care of it properly.
Well, you can't bury it in its condition, so you might have to build a pyre.
Yeah, whatever I have to do. First I'll just take it off and lay it down in a more respectful way.
Yeah, you lay it down
I guess
on
actually
its
this is pretty goddamn respectful. It looks kick-ass.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
honestly,
the
you
sun
couldn't...
shines behind it and it looks super cool.
Right.
So I'll just get to work
It
building
literally
that
looks
pyre.
like a man is flying with wings behind him, but the wings
Actually,
are
you know
his
what?
legs.
No, fuck that, dude. Fuck that. Tipowitz is standing there, leaning on his staff, tears going down his face, and his staff reflects to the sunlight coming from behind his friend Svitar, spread eagle there, dead, and you hear him say, "By Odor's light, burn your way to Valhalla," and I'm gonna set the whole stage and the whole thing on fire. Even if
so
I burn the pavilion down, I don't even care. They can.
Well,
lock me
it's
up,
not.
like,
It's out in the open.
yeah,
you
I'm gonna burn it. I want to
You
burn it
see
with my
the
magic.
platform light on fire, and you hear a commotion coming behind you as people are returning. And you see that they've gotten bundles of sticks and logs, as it looks like you weren't the only one to think of that. And people start ceremoniously, kind of like as a final goodbye, they start throwing their bundles onto the platform, and pretty soon you have a genuine pyre, and his body is Pro's spread eagle, and the flames end up swallowing him within a few minutes.
Burn it all to the ground! When I die, I don't even care. I mean, you can just throw me in the trash.
You forget he has a magical weapon on him. You're radioing 3PO. You're like, shut down all the garbage compactors on the detention level. No.
So we just sit back and watch as the thing burns.
Yep. Morning comes.
Fire.
The town carries on its business as usual, and still the Jarl has not summoned you.
Well, comrades, what do you think we should do at this point?
It doesn't seem like he wants to see us.
Seems like trade negotiations are futile effort at this point. We need to prepare our land for the coming storm. Our city is in our town is in danger. Our village is in danger.
Is the
Everyone
sky
agree?
all stormy?
Oh, yeah. It's actually raining. Yeah,
Oh, I wasn't talking about an actual storm. I was talking about a metaphorical storm. But yeah, if there's a real storm,
No,
that's even better.
Thor,
Yeah.
when he shot up to the heavens, Thor's lightning lit up the sky. It's been storming since.
So much for that mud drying up.
Yes. So this is a terrible journey.
Yeah. It's awful.
I feel it was good that we were here to witness this, but the outcome of our journey was the worst thing that could happen.
So do we head back to Scalaholt?
Is there any business left for us here? The Jarl obviously does not want to see us, and I
Where's
believe that
the
it should be challenged, but I don't think anybody will.
Huskarl at?
The Huskarl, that's good you asked. He's still standing by the fire watching it. Horrified.
Walk to him.
The color has left
So-
his face.
So have you ever seen the Jarl do anything like that before? Out of anger or jealousy?
No. Normally he holds a trial. He would have held one. They would have found out that man was innocent.
It was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, he kind of looks up at you with, like, you know. And he lowers his head. That could have been me up there. Only I would have screamed.
Dun, dun, dun.
You have no idea what you've just done.
Well, how can I make it better? Maybe I should kill the Jarl.
That's a great plan. I'll help you.
Is that what you say? Do you say that?
No. I don't know if that's the greatest plan.
That was the most polite way to say that's a stupid idea.
You're an
I don't know if
idiot.
that's the greatest plan.
I don't know what, to do about... Do you think he's going crazy over this jealousy?
No, I think he's at peace now. The look I saw on his face when he was returning to his home was that of retribution.
Well, the gods must be appeased. They are, as you can see in the sky, they are very angry from this outcome.
The wrong man died. He kind of like, his eyes trail back to the smoldering fire.
Are we witnessing all of this, or is this a private conversation?
It's a private conversation, but time has passed now to where you guys would notice the two of them talking together.
Okay.
Well, I would say that I did notice Svitar's looking at Sten Pilkvist so much, and I noticed their interactions before, so I'm kind of letting him work through whatever the heck's going on with him. I don't want to interrupt if he's finding guidance from someone else,
Yeah, and Tipowitz, would you like to roll a religion, as well as Pillwinkle, to say goodbye to the spirit of... Like, is there a certain ceremony? Are you guys going to try to gain any religious information from the event that just transpired?
Well, do you want... I'll go first, man. One thing I definitely want to do is roll a religion to see if there's... Even if I need to go to a library and get some more help, consult with people to see if there's anything we can do to
Wasn't your
appease and
background
make
a
up...
sage?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So I want to try to learn if there's anything we can do to appease and make up for this wrong that has been committed against the gods. But yeah, right away it would be nice to pay some respect. So if I can do that immediately, I'll definitely do that. And go ahead, Pillwinkle. What are you and Soggy? What are you gonna do?
I'll just try
I'm
and
just
think,
watching, waiting.
try and figure something out. How to appease the gods, maybe. Damn.
Archie, just for free, because your sage ability, you know that any books that you would need will be in Borosvik, the capital of the region. It is a large city. That's where the king lives. Barosvik. And it is on a lake called Bear Lake. The lake was aptly named because for the last several decades there has been a monstrous bear haunting the area.
Well, I think they may find respite from that bear, but new troubles upon their doorstep.
But with your religion, you do find out that, just from your basic, both of you actually, will find out that there was no soul per se because Odin was a god, so it wasn't like, did he go to Valhalla? He just went back to Asgard. So it does feel different in that sense. But you guys are kind of get this flash in your head of the eyes of Svitar and whispers.
So you might almost say it's like his words, although foreign to me, are burned in my mind.
Exactly.
I like
so,
it.
once you guys learn what language he was speaking, I can tell you what he said before he died.
Excellent.
All right. Meanwhile, Soggy and Sten is at the edge. The house squirrel's talking to Sten, and he just isn't saying much. And then he lowers his head and says, "Perhaps you're right. We shouldn't kill him." And then a woman's voice is heard behind Soggy and says, "Why the hell not?" And you guys turn to see this woman who's probably 5'11", very slender features. And she's obviously been crying a lot because she's got poofy eyes.
It's the Jarl's wife.
Yeah, so you know her. You know her as...
He's been down under.
Do I notice this?
You can tell by her lips.
What?
Do I, like, notice this happening?
Yeah, you probably hear her say that.
I want to walk over them.
This is
Join the
Homlaug.
conversation.
That's her name, Homlaug. H-O-L-M...
Home log?
Homlaug. H-O-L-M-L-A-U-G. Homlaug.
While I'm talking to the Husk Jarl, maybe we need to tell the Jarl that the wrong man was executed.
I don't think so.
I'm just out here.
Homlaug
So I'm
said.
like-
Oh yeah, Pillweagle. As you approach, you do hear that. The wrong man was executed.
I'm shocked. I'm like, what?
It's not like we have proof, but
Bum bum bum!
Homlaug says, "You will do no such thing." He finds out that it was the Huskarl. The Huskarl will die, and he will be denied a trip to Valhalla.
He
bitch,
should
she's probably gonna kill you anyway.
He wouldn't dare.
He himself
she
by
kind of
not
looks at
accepting.
she kind of looks at you, Soggy. He wouldn't dare.
Or would he?
I might though.
Tipowitz, it's now that you probably turn on your heel and you see everybody kind of having a small debate. They're not speaking loudly, but there's definitely some passion behind what is being said.
Okay, yeah, so, at this point I've resolved that I need to make another journey to right this wrong. But I'm going to go and see what they're talking about, because my hope is, they've came to the same conclusion. So let's go hear what they are saying.
Pillwinkle looks like he's been listening for a little bit longer than you, so you could probably waltz up and be like, "Yo, what's going on?"
I'll definitely do that.
Pillwinkle, it's up to you if you tell him or not whether or not the wrong man was killed.
Yeah, I know this will mean a lot to him, so I go to him and I'm like, Odin's body was torn apart, whereas the man who really committed the crime is right here. He was completely innocent, and yet the real guilty party stood by and did nothing and has shamed himself and cursed our land.
Do you mean to tell me that Svitar did not sleep with the Jarl's wife?
Indeed.
So, I'm even more confused now. I'm like, well, I just assumed Odin actually did it, because that makes a lot of sense, too. The fact that he didn't do it is even more perplexing. I'm like, holy shit.
He also admitted to doing it.
Yeah, well, of course he would admit that right in front of everyone. He's getting murdered for that. He's trying to take the blame. But, okay, yeah, so you tell me that
Soggy,
much.
you have a flashback of Svitar putting his hand on your face and removing your pain and taking the wound and telling you that he is absorbing all of your pains and all of your suffering.
Yes.
So maybe he was doing that for the Huskarl.
Dying for the Huskarl.
Yeah, so you could play that to the party if you'd like.
Blah, blah, blah.
But this bitch here is crazy, so how's that gonna matter if she goes psycho killer or something? Qu'est-ce que c'est?
She doesn't seem that crazy. Come on now.
She seems crazy to me.
Homelaug is a perfectly reasonable woman.
Yeah,
She
a
wants to-
cheater.
She wants to kill the Jarl. I know, that's a two-way street. Alright, it takes more than one to tango.
It didn't just slip. Alright,
So,
let's
yeah.
play that to the puppy.
Yeah, so Sagi basically tells you guys, he said something when he took the wound off my face about how it's his job to take away all of our suffering and all of our pains. Maybe that's what he did for the Huskarl. The Huskarl
Well,
clears his throat and says, when I went to the dungeon last night to feed him, he told me that he was to take my punishment. He knew already. Don't know how, but he knew.
And you did not protest?
He told me not to.
What a coward.
He kind of hangs his head down.
he knows it.
I'm going to look at Pillwinkle and I'm going to say, they don't know who Svitar was, do they? I
Must
say
not
that
have.
quietly and privately. What did you say, man?
I said they must not have.
And I'll say,
Much
the Jarl must not know either that he's brought this doom upon his land and his people.
I turn to the Huskarl and I say, it should have been you in the stocks, and if you do not challenge the Jarl to an honorable battle to the death, then you are not even fit to live in the city that you have doomed with your actions.
Oh.
I click my staff in agreement to that statement. I'm like, yeah, that seems legit to me. I don't know about the battle to the death part, but the rest of that shit is legit.
And I await a response.
Yeah, he says, you're right, I should. And that's when Homelaug goes, no! What are you doing? And he holds up his hand and he says, it is proven. I must go declare Holmgang.
Holmgang?
Holmgang. That is the traditional single combat till death. So the Huskarl extends his hand and says, thank you, friends, for setting me on the right path.
I shake it and say, I'm glad you've seen the light.
If he finds out you've talked me into this, though, he will want vengeance. I suggest you leave.
I will stay.
What's
If
the-
you are not successful in raising this plague, we will find another way to save the people of this town.
I kind of want to stay and watch.
How about the rest of you?
Gotta stick with the gnome bros.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, you guys decide to stay. And he shakes his head and the duel could be for another week or two. It's up to him when it happens.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what if he just decides that's not gonna happen and he just has this guy killed too?
Oh, well, if
I
he
don't-
does
I
that,
don't
a
think he
plague is
would
least of
because
our
of-
concerns.
Yeah, that'd be very dishonorable.
The gods
Yeah.
would directly punish him.
Yeah, but how could you do this to somebody without having, like, valid proof? If there's any honor in it.
I mean,
Well,
if he
that's
has a
true, but he
confession-
did have a confession.
So I
He's
look
already-
directly at Holmlog, and I say, there is more than enough dishonor to go around. The Jarl is not the only one at blame. But if we can set this right by ending it with either the death of the Jarl or the House Curl, then we should do that for the sake of the villagers
She snaps
town.
over to you, Tipowitz, and with a really snarky but shaky voice, she's like, I've already paid for my dishonor. I watched my newborn son get filleted alive in front of me.
I'm tempted. I see her.
We've
pain.
all
I'm
been
tempted to
there.
tell her she should have been flayed alive with her son if it was that much of a fucking problem. And like, I mean, I could say
If you
things
wanna
to that,
say
but
that.
I'm not.
If
But
you think Tipowitz
in my
would say
face. My face says like I care more for the kid than for her. Like I have no sympathy for her. But I'm not gonna say shit. I don't look like she's swayed me at all.
Alright, so the House Cruel nods and says, then I will challenge him. You all have to find lodging for the next few weeks.
Works for me. Where's a good place to stay around here?
Perhaps we should stay with as close to the Huskarl as possible to provide for his protection.
Well, no
One of
one
us
knows
should
he's
keep an eye
done
on him,
anything.
perhaps.
We do have...
Now that it is decided that you're going to, challenge him to a fight to the death, is there Best Western around here?
I kind of felt the same way. It's like, where's there a McDonald's? I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
He says, well, the tilted lantern is a good place to go.
I get to stay anywhere for free.
You're like, all week long,
For
bitches.
free?
He just
For
has to
free.
play a song and earn the tavern some money. every
Tilly
night.
tilly too, hibbly hobbly hoo.
All right, so you guys head off to the tavern then?
Would the house
Yeah.
allow one of us to stay with him for protection?
he stays with the Jarl.
Damn. Okay. Well, he's
That's the
fine.
ironic
All
thing.
right.
He's got to protect the Jarl after having challenged him to a fight.
Nice.
I only
Okay.
didn't want
well,
to hurt him, like, before the duel, because that would be pretty dishonorable, right?
Right.
I mean, fair enough, but it would. What? Yeah, fair enough. You're right. I don't
So
know, I
yeah,
just
you
feel
guys,
some poison.
You head
there any
off to
shady
the
on
tavern.
the way to the tavern?
Is there any what?
Any shady looking people on the way there?
No, the town doesn't really have much of a crime issue. The Jarl is known for his hot temper and quick execution methods. Anyway, so, yeah, you guys head to the tavern. Describe one thing about this tavern, the Tilted Lantern, to me, Dorian. What do you notice about it?
I noticed there was the execution and people weren't feeling that, were kind of depressed about it. And because of that, they've come to the Tilted Lantern to kind of, raise their spirits. So there's unusually high number of people around than normal.
Yeah, maybe they're standing outside, too, and drinking. Like, maybe the servants are bringing the meals outside. Okay, perfect.
Beer garden.
Yeah, the first beer garden, 700 AD. All right, soggy French fries. Name one thing Soggy notices about this tavern.
I noticed that it's awfully quiet. There's no music.
Actually, that's awesome. So there's a lot of people here, but the mood is pretty somber. So there's no music going on right now, and most of the discussions are in hushed tones. There's not even too many clanking of glasses. Some of the people are just sitting
I
at
feel like
tables
since
looking
everybody's
down.
all depressed about this death, I must sing a song about him.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, Pillwinkle, name one thing you notice about this town, or this tavern?
I noticed that this tavern is actually serving water, which I do not see that often, which I much prefer to any sort of ale or alcohol.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you. Tipowitz.
Okay, man, I hope I'm not going too ham here, but this is just the flavor I want to add to this. Okay, I want to see in one corner or at one table, probably a booth type table, a gnome with like a hat, like a purple hat that's like a birdhouse, like a bunch of different doors in it, and like one bird in it, like his familiar, because he's like maybe magical or something. And he has like a table covered with books, and he's just at one table with like an ale, and
Your
he's just
boy.
over there studying. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys approach the tavern. It's lit with just the basic fires that roar inside. They don't have a whole lot of torches that they need to worry about right now. There's a lantern outside that used to have 4 chains, but now only has 2, so it's cocked at an angle, but it still works, so that lights up the porch area. And there's a bunch of people outside drinking. But they are somber. There's not a whole lot of noise. You just hear the squishing of mud beneath their feet as Thor's tears rain down upon the earth. As for the building itself, it's about 1 story tall. It's a wider building. It's almost built like a perfect square, and it's got the wooden shingled roofs. And it's got people filtering in and out with drinks. Mainly servants. But as you come in, you notice that there is a brightly colored gnome in some flamboyant clothing with a top hat that looks like a multi-layered birdhouse. It almost looks like he's got a cat tower off the top of his head, and all these birds are perched. The birds, however, are fluttering around as if they are made from the arcane. There's a weird blue haze about them when they move. And a waitress comes up and says, "Here's the water you asked for." And he goes, "Thank you, my dear. It's so rare that you guys serve water." And puts it up to the top of his hat and fills a bird bath that's installed at the top of his hat and puts it down, and all of his little arcane birds start going to town in the bird bath. All over his table is a series of books. But as you guys walk in, there is a woman up at the front. There's no bar table per se, but she walks in and she motions to a table and says, "Sit down, we'll be with you in a moment." All the tables are taken up.
I'll look for a seat somewhere.
Around the fireplace, nobody's sitting. So if you guys don't mind getting hot, like having that hot back problem where you're sitting too close to a fire, if you don't mind that, you can go sit next to it.
You got to keep turning around. Yeah.
You gotta cook evenly.
Yeah,
My
that's right.
favorite thing to do is stand in front of a fireplace with jeans on, and then when they get really hot, run over the couch and sit down and be like, "Ah!"
Oh,
I like the pain.
gosh.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I'll sit with them.
All right. Sagi, do you want to start playing music?
Yes.
Roll me a performance at disadvantage.
All right. Yeah.
Aw.
9. Yeah, people, it's not a bad song, it's just nobody's paying attention. But you get your room for free.
Yay.
Huzzah!
All right, so
Can I
yeah.
sleep under your table?
Did you say that to the gnome?
No, I was asking Sagi
Oh.
if I could sleep under his table of his free room, so I don't have to pay for one. I was just joking.
So, that is what the tavern looks like. Pillwinkle, you do see they have water.
Yeah, so there's not a bar table to go up to and order something?
Nope, it's more like a sit-in restaurant.
I guess I'll call the waiter over.
Yeah, she comes up to you.
Okay, I ask for a pint of water, if you please.
Oh, yes, it'll just be one moment. We have to go down to the riverside.
I
So
know,
she
I'm
leaves.
say,
Yeah, so she sends another servant out the back door with a giant vase, and she's going to go fill it up with water and then bring it back. Probably 10 minutes later,
Okay.
she comes back up to you with the water.
alright.
There you are, a pint of water.
Is Sagi still playing this song?
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and help him out a little bit by using my shake water cantrip and making like a little figure come out of the glass and like dance along to the music he's playing.
all right, Sagi, roll performance again, but don't do it at disadvantage. And you also have an honor point if you want to make it an advantage.
I'll just roll it. It'll be okay this time.
18 is definitely okay. This time the people are starting to get into it, and they're starting to smile and laugh, and you're seeing about tales of Odin and all this other stuff, and the people are very pleased. When the commotion starts happening inside the building, people from outside start filtering in, and the room just gets packed.
Nice.
And as all of you are talking, the gnome kind of just looks up at you guys and smiles, and then shakes his head and looks back down at his stuff.
Yeah, I keep looking over in his direction, but like I'm mostly looking at his books. I don't know if he would notice I wasn't looking at him and not his books, but like I'm eyeing his books.
Yeah, and every time he tilts his head down, water from the bird bath is like swish and spilling all over the table and the books. But he doesn't.
Oh, okay, so that's why I'm doing it every time I hear that water drop. Like I'm hypersensitive to the safety of those books. Every time I hear the water drop, I'm like, look over at it. You're hurting the books.
Yeah, he just picks up the books and shakes them and puts them back down. And he's like got sauce all over his fingers from food he's eating. He's got a long, round, windy mustache, and he's like, delicate. And then continues eating his fish.
Can we see what the commotion is where we're at? So there was a commotion?
Yeah, it's the commotion of everybody rushing inside to hear Soggy's song.
Oh.
The badass bard performance.
They're all cramming themselves into this tavern now.
Well, I think we have to find a way to redeem the Jarl's execution.
I think that we need to go to the library in Borosvik. They're the only ones that will know what must be done.
More water,
Perhaps
dear?
we could even seek.
She comes up to Pillwinkle with another thing of water.
I'll tell her I want one too.
As you guys are looking, she fills the glass and she's smiling at you, and there's blood trickling down from the edges of her eyes and out her nose.
Oh.
Witch!
Are you okay?
What?
Is everything okay, ma'am?
What do you mean? And she goes... And she drops the pot, it smashes on the floor. She screams and looks around confused, but then you see that her eyes are filling up and they're turning red, and she just goes... And this foam comes out her mouth and she plops onto the floor. And as the crowd gasps and looks around, you notice that there's a couple more people with blood coming out of their eyes and dripping out their nose. Guy in the back spasming as he falls down, and people start dropping like flies inside the tavern.
I had for the nearest fucking exit.
Yeah. Okay, I need you to roll in athletics at disadvantage.
I just am like, what the fuck is happening around here?
Athletics, not acrobatics. Where you do, oh, no. You're running on their heads. You're like,
he starts cartwheeling tables and flipping.
No, in athletics,
parkour out the building.
This is mosh pit stuff. That was same result. All right, so you're like, oh God, get out of here! And the crowd of people, like, there's people panicking. One guy in front of you grabs you, and he looks at you, and his eyes are all full of red, and he starts foaming at the mouth, and you're like, ah! But you can't get him off. You're just not athletic enough. What does anybody else do?
I want to fall to my knees and grab my holy symbol and start praying.
I play harder.
So as the commotion
he just thinks his music is killing people. He's like, yeah!
It goes from like this peaceful, like, things are gonna be okay, I know you're sad, to, oh man, what's that song?
I did not mean
yeah,
to blow your mind.
Yeah, something like that. I was actually thinking that Ballroom Blitz song.
Everybody starts
from the back
crazy.
Everybody tackling to Ballroom Blitz, Ballroom Blitz, Ballroom Blitz, as everybody's freaking out. Pillwinkle, what do you do?
I'm real confused by what's going on. I know bars have magic, so I don't know if that's related. So I go over to Soggy and I like shake him, and I'm like, yo, dude, stop. Like,
Yeah, Sagi already tried changing songs. That didn't work.
He's over in the corner playing Slayer. Everybody die.
Boil the body, set them aflame. Headbanging like
Possessed
Cannibal
by
Corpse.
Loki. Now let's hear the accordion version.
It was an accordion, not a squeaky door, Dorian. All right, so yeah, but the crowd goes
Same
crazy.
thing.
People
I
are
stopped
panicking.
playing.
Everybody starts filtering out into the streets. Some of them falling dead in the doorway. The young girl who got you water at the river, she's probably like 14, but she's leaning on the wall, like holding her head as she's watching this mayhem ensue.
I still would.
And that's when you just hear guards shouting, "No, get back, get off of me, get off of me." And you're noticing the behavior of the crowd. They're becoming more crazed. They're like, ah. So one of them looks at you, Dorian, and just pops Stinpilkfist right in the mouth. Not enough to damage him, but like, and they run and they jump through the soft wooden walls. Just goes, and one of them just kind of crashes his way through. Yeah, and when people see the opening, they're like, "Go, go, go!" And they're leaping out this hole to flood into the streets. And the guards and the shield maidens who are freaking out, they go to stop them, but they get punched a couple times, and then they stab a person. And the moment that they stab one of the infected people, pure pandemonium breaks out. Swords are flashing, people are panicking, running other ways, they're defending themselves. The Jarl steps out onto the porch, and he's looking around, and he's like, "What the hell is going?" And he lifts his hand up and he looks down and he sees blood on his fingertips and he's like, and that's where we're going to end this episode.
oh, damn.
It seems the god's
Wonder-
retribution was swift.
I wanted to roll acrobatics and try and jump into the rafters.
You know what? Let's do that real quick. That's
Like
a great
Batman.
idea.
He disappears into the shadows of the
Roll.
roof.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Roll in acrobatics because we're going to forget that.
I tried to jump into the rafters.
Never forget.
I did not get.
Do you want to spend your honor point?
Yes.
Oh, damn.
All right, well, 24 is perfectly fine, and you're like, shit, and grab onto the railing and lift up. As this guy's looking at you like, and he starts picking stuff up and throwing it at you, and he's going crazy, and the entire town's just smashing stuff and panicking. Some of them are running back into the tavern to barricade themselves because the guards are coming, and the three of you guys are staying there in the middle of the tavern like, what is
Somebody
going
blow the
on?
goddamn horn. Bring on the
Bring the
gold.
goblins.
I forgot about
The
that.
war just starts in the middle of this chaos, and it's like,
Meanwhile, all the
That's
other
way
human
crazy
cities
with
are
them.
like, the goblins attack the Jarl and murder all the people. Kill the goblins!
Goblins versus zombies.
All right. So, folks, that is the end of episode 2. How did everybody enjoy it?
great.
Yeah, it
was
sounds
good.
like everybody
More
loved
battle.
it. More battle!
I
More
wanna kill
battle!
things.
Well, we're going to be getting to that for sure. Archie, why don't you go ahead and give us a shout out for you?
All right, everybody, what's up? Thanks for checking out the video. It's your boy Arch. Be sure to support Jarl the Goats by commenting down below. Hit us up. You holler at people for their dumb shit. You know, congratulate them for their excellent stuff. Like every time motherfucking my brother does stuff, that boy is amazing. I wish I was as good a wizard as him. Anyways, I'll toss it on over to him. Make sure you check out my channel too, Archie Duelist on YouTube, baby.
All right, Andrew.
Yeah, just if you want to hit us up, comment on the video. You know, shout out to all the players. I feel like the role playing this game was really on point a lot of the time. I really enjoyed it. Great set of players. Thanks to Jarl the Goats for hosting the game because I absolutely love it. That's all I got. Thank y'all for watching.
All right, and Dorian.
Hello. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything, so I'm just gonna concur with what I'm just, a basement. I'm just a basement dwelling troll over here.
A vault dwelling troll. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your 111 back there.
That's right. Represent.
All right. Well, thank you, Vault Dweller. Let's head over to Soggy. Soggy, are you streaming any games lately?
Yeah, just streaming a bunch of Rocket League. Glad everybody showed up again. Glad to see same people over and over. That's unusual for all the D&D stuff I usually do. People quit. So, but thanks everybody. Make sure you like everybody's videos, all that good stuff. Subscribe, do whatever you do. Maybe come play some games with us.
You're definitely going to see Soggy and I playing more Rocket League because Rumble came out, and I am having a blast with Rumble. And so it's a lot of fun.
It is super fun.
All right, well, tune in 2 weeks from now when we will be doing episode 3. Episode 3 is going to start off with the title Plague. So episode 3 is titled Plague. See you then. Like and subscribe. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. And come on, throw down some love for the players. Have a good one. Bye-bye.